So picture this. You've done everything right. The soil prep, the irrigation, the best seeds you could find. And then you walk out into your field one morning and your heart just sinks. Damaged plants. It is one of the most frustrating feelings there is. Today, we're going to tackle that feeling head on in this explainer on pest and disease management.
All right, so you see it. The damage is done. What's your gut reaction? What's the very first thing you do in that moment? For a lot of us, it's a knee-jerk reaction, but this problem, it really demands a more thoughtful approach. Yep. For so many of us, it's this mad dash for the sprayer, right? Time to apply some pesticide or fungicide. It feels like you're taking action, like you're fighting back. But the real question is it the right action? And here's the hard truth. Rushing in to spray without a clear plan isn't just a waste of money, and it is a waste of money. It can actually make your problem worse. You might kill off beneficial insects, create resistance in the pests, or you might completely miss what was causing the damage in the first place. So, before you can fight back effectively, you have to know who or what you're fighting. This brings us to the first, most important rule: know your enemy. Because correctly identifying the problem is the absolute foundation of protecting your crops without breaking the bank.
Okay, so this is the very first fork in the road, and it's a big one. Are you dealing with a pest? A living creature that's physically eating or damaging your crop? Or is it a disease, an infection caused by something tiny like a fungus or a virus? Because the solution for one is totally useless against the other.
Let's put on our detective hats for a second. For pests, you're looking for clues, for the evidence they leave behind. See a sticky, shiny substance on the leaves? That's honeydew from aphids. Give a plant a little shake and a puff of white insects flies up? Bingo, whiteflies. Is the center shoot of a young plant dead while the rest is green? That's a classic dead heart from a stem borer. And those little holes in your fruit? That's a fruit borer's calling card. Now, diseases, they're a different beast altogether. They show up in other ways. You might see a strange white powder on the leaves, like powdery mildew. Or maybe the whole plant just suddenly wilts for no reason, or the leaves start to get these weird mosaic patterns and curl up. These are all signs of an infection happening inside the plant. So, once you've identified the culprit, what now? Well, you don't just go in with the biggest weapon you can find. No, you turn to the SMART approach, Integrated Pest Management, or IPM for short. There's a reason this is the gold standard in modern farming. So what exactly is IPM? It's not a single product or a silver bullet. It's more of a philosophy. It's about using a whole toolbox of different strategies to manage pests, not necessarily wipe them out completely. And the goal is to do it in a way that protects your wallet and the environment. It's all about being smart and balanced. All right, let's get practical. Let's open up this IPM toolkit. We're going to look at 4 different levels of control, starting with the easiest, most preventative things first, and working our way up to the absolute last resort. Okay, level 1. This is your foundation. Honestly, it's the most important part. We're talking about prevention through smart farming, or what we call cultural controls. Things like choosing crop varieties that are naturally resistant to problems, rotating your crops season to season to break pest cycles, and just keeping your field clean of old plant debris. These simple things can make a massive difference. Next, we move to level 2, biological controls. This is where we get smart and let nature do the heavy lifting for us. This means encouraging the good guys, like ladybugs, that eat the bad guys. Or you can introduce specific helpers, like using trichogramma cards to deal with borrowers, or applying BT, which is a natural bacteria that only targets caterpillars and doesn't harm anything else. All right, level 3 is all about getting physical. We're talking mechanical controls. Sometimes the best solution is to just physically remove the pest from the equation. Those simple yellow sticky traps, they are incredibly effective against things like whiteflies. Pheromone traps work like a magnet for specific types of moths. And you know what? Never underestimate the power of just hand-picking pests and their eggs when you spot them early. And now we come to level 4. This is the absolute last resort. The thing you only do when everything else has been tried and the problem is getting out of hand. Even here, you start with the softer options, like botanical controls from plants like neem. If, and only if, you have to use a synthetic chemical, you follow the rules to the letter. Identify the pest correctly, use the exact recommended dose, and always wear your protective gear. Okay, so you've got this whole toolkit, right? Cultural, biological, mechanical, chemical. But that brings up the million-dollar question. When do you actually use them?
How do you know when a few pests on a leaf are about to become a real problem that's going to hurt your bottom line?
And the answer to that question has a name: the economic threshold. This is the golden rule of IPM. And it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. It just means you only spend money to control a pest when the amount of damage they're about to cause is greater than what it's going to cost you to control them. It's a business decision, not an emotional one. This right here, this is the big mental shift you have to make. Seeing a few pests doesn't mean it's time to declare war. It means it's time to watch, to monitor, to let those good guys, the natural predators, do their job. You only act when that pest population starts to cross that economic line in the sand. I know, this probably sounds completely backward. You're thinking, the right number of pests is 0. But hear me out. The goal of IPM isn't a totally sterile, pest-free field. A healthy field has a whole ecosystem. The goal is just to keep the pest numbers below that level where they start costing you real money. A few pests are just part of the deal. So when it all comes down to it, what's your most powerful weapon? It's not the sprayer. It's not even all this knowledge we're talking about. Your greatest weapon is your eyes and your habit of walking the field and observing what's really going on. That's the key. So I've got a little mission for you this week. It's super simple. Sometime in the next few days, just take 15 minutes. That's it. Walk your field. And don't just walk. Look. Really look. Turn over some leaves, check around the base of the stems, look at the young fruit. Just see what's actually happening out there. You'll be amazed at what you find. You know, pests and diseases, they're one kind of thief. They steal your hard work. But there's another, quieter kind out there, one that's competing with your crops for water, for sunlight, for nutrients every single day. So I'll leave you with this question until next time. What are the silent thieves stealing your yield right now?